Do you ever wonder what the area of a city would look like before humans could affect it? Well, look no further than this virtual reality experience. Hello everyone, and welcome to our IAT 445 showcase video. Our project is called A City Split in Time, and it revolves around the user exploring an area with both a present and a past version. The big picture is that we wanted to challenge users to think more about urbanization. Instead of pushing a particular agenda, we innovated and we let our project do the talking. Two objective sides are presented with facts and information to accommodate that, and then in the end, we let the user decide for themselves. The user starts out in the present and is free to walk around as they please. There is narration to set up context and guide the user to the next phase. Once the user is finished with the present area, they are directed to walk into a guidepost. This brings them to the past, the same area, only undisturbed by human activity, abundant with the green of trees and grass. The player can also roam freely, and there's more narration. Once the user is finished, the virtual reality experience concludes. Our goal of the project is to raise awareness about the goods and bads of urban development, especially in bustling cities like Vancouver. Whether they change their stance on urbanization or not, even if the user starts to think about the advantages and disadvantages of urbanization more, then our project goal is achieved. As for the desired user experience, ideally, the user spends a sufficient amount of time and fully integrates themselves into both environments. The narration gives them a deeper understanding of the landscape and why their choice matters. In the end, the user has a more informed and/or educational stance on urbanization. For some design choices, the guidepost as the trigger to switch environments was chosen due to the fact that guideposts, or signs in general, are symbols of direction. If anyone is lost in a trail, one of their first instincts is to find a guidepost. We applied that to our project. Next, we also let users stay in either worlds for as long as they want, because we did not want them to feel pressured or unlimited time when fully exploring our world. That way, they have opinions of the experience on their own accord. Lastly, narration was a simple yet effective way to guide users. We give swift instructions on controls, what they are doing, and why they are there. Next is immersion. To start, immersion in virtual reality is defined as a perception of being physically present in a non-physical world. With that being said, our project includes both sensory and imaginative immersion. Since it is an exploration game, challenge-based immersion was not necessary, thus not included. For sensory immersion, the city design, visual design, and sound design of our environments create a believable environment to explore in. Also, the use of low poly was a conscious decision due to the fact that creating a hyper-realistic world would be beyond our manpower and scope. That way, we could spend more time on other areas of the experience without compromising the believability of the city. As for imaginative, viewing our two environments and hearing the narration will make users think and reminisce about similar experiences they have in real life, if applicable. After that, the two main areas we concentrated on during our iteration process was the narrative and the scope. The scope in the beginning was too ambitious. We had dozens more interactions, 3 separate areas for each world, and ultimately we were suggested to cut down on the project due to time constraints, and we all agreed. Tying into the scope is the narrative. We had many ideas, such as starting the user off as a child and growing up to see the world before them. However, being a child's body might break the immersion and was also logistically difficult to incorporate. Thus, we scrapped this narrative in favor of a more open-ended, interpretive experience. We did not have narration until the last few weeks. It let us add many of the ideas we had for both the scope and narrative into the project to fit our timeline. It also significantly helped users feel like they belonged in the world, without being intrusive to the experience. At the end of the experience, we had users fill out a survey that included questions, such as what their stance on urbanization was before and after the experience, and their opinion on the low poly environment, etc. As shown, there was some distinct change in opinions before and after the experience. Remember, our design goal was to get users to think more about the effects of urbanization, even if they maintained their stance. Many users maintained their stance, and some even changed theirs, successfully reaching our desired goal. We received comments about the effectiveness of the low poly environment. As you can see, the majority enjoyed the execution of the environment. One user, however, had different ideas and preferred a hyper-realistic environment to be immersed inside the city. We also received comments that reinforced our neutral and unbiased way of showing both sides and letting the user decide.
I also like leaving it open-ended, kind of giving me the choice to kind of reflect on it. It was I think it was a good move, and I liked it a lot, yeah.
Last is the physical rig and setup. We put up our barriers and also included an optional bulletin board that contained some details that set up our experience. As for the rig, our app was installed into the headset, so it was wireless, with no difficulties with movement. Users preferred to sit due to using joysticks to move. Also, headphones were included to cut off background noise and let the user hear and focus on the narration. We connected to the Oculus app with our mobile phone so we can view what our users were seeing in real time, guiding them whenever needed. Additionally, we purchased a pine tree air freshener and took it out when users switched to the past environment to simulate what the area would smell like. That is the end of our showcase video. Thank you very much for watching.